A lot of you mentioned that you need some help with the management section, and I am in a difficulty right now because the majority and the vocal minority want different things, but I definitely want to help you out, and that is why I have selected 51 most important questions for SEBI Grade A management section. This will really help you, and of course if you want a full course on the SEBI Grade A 2020, you can check out Olive Board's SEBI Grade A online course. It has a complete coverage of SEBI Grade A 2020. You are going to get live classes, you are going to get study notes, you are going to get complete video lessons to cover each and every single topic, mock tests, and all the things that you need to get success in SEBI Grade A 2020. You can right now go to the link in the description and in the comments and find free mini mock tests and free PDFs that will also help you with your preparation. So let's begin with our video. Hi, this is Supriyo. So today we are going to cover 51 MCQs on the management section for the SEBI Grade A 2020, and of course, like always, I encourage you to first attempt these questions before I tell you the answer. So just bring out a pen and paper and mark your answer to all of these 51 questions, and at the end of the session tally your marks and let me know in the comments how much you have scored. This will help you immensely because you will understand what was your score for the first time, and later on you can always reattempt and get higher scores. So don't worry about that. Just attempt and let me know your marks in the comments. And of course, if you want me to cover some other section in the SEBI Grade A 2020 exam, if there's anything else that you are struggling with, feel free to let me know in the comments and I'll definitely get to those. So let's begin with our session with the first question. Which US inventor is known as the father of scientific management? A very important question, and perhaps this type of question has come in many exams. So the answer to this question, it is Frederick Winslow Taylor. So some say F.W. Taylor, or sometimes his name is said as Frederick W. Taylor. So that's the answer. Let's move to question number 2. Which one of the following identifies deviation from set practices and focuses on corrections needed in core responsibilities? So the answer for this, it is management by exception. Question number 3. Which chart is represented by bars that show project schedule with tasks to be done on y-axis and time intervals on x-axis? So the tasks, they are on the y-axis and the time intervals are on the x-axis, and we have a bar chart kind of a thing in this. So what is the answer? The answer is Gantt chart. So Henry Gantt was the person who actually designed these charts. So just remember the name of Henry Gantt as well. Coming to question number 4, which theory states that employees compare themselves based on input and output and finding a balance between these two? So which is this theory? This theory is Adams' equity theory. This theory is actually very important because this shows that how the employees, they compare themselves with the others and how it actually allows them to perform, or sometimes it can cause a very bad performance by those employees if they feel that they do not have equity in the workplace. So a very important theory, make sure that you cover it. Question number 5, how many management principles were devised by Henri Fayol? Again, a very important and a very conceptual and rudimentary question. The answer is 14 management principles. And remember that each of these principles you need to understand. So there are 14 total, and make sure that you read through all of them and you note down all the different kinds of principles. Question number 6. MBO is also known as, so the answer first I'll tell you, the answer is MBR. So what is MBO? MBO is known as management by objectives. It's a very important question, and lots of different exams have asked this question. So make sure that you cover this very well. And MBR, this is called management by results. So MBO, or management by objectives, it is also called MBR. And also remember that it was actually given by Peter F. Drucker. So moving on to question number 7. Formal line of authority in a company that moves from highest to lowest rank in a straight line is known as what? So the official name for this, the answer is scalar chain. Now also remember that scalar chain, this was actually devised by Henri Fayol, none other than the person who gave us those 14 principles that we just talked about. So Henri Fayol was the pioneer of this scalar chain. Make sure that you remember his name. And now moving on to question number 8. who in his 1954 book, The Practice of Management, popularized MBO? So a very important question, and you must remember this gentleman's name because he is one of the most important thinkers in the field of management. The answer is Peter Ferdinand Drucker. Peter F. Drucker. So remember his name, and Peter F. Drucker, he has written many different books, and they are now considered as the benchmark for the management part, the management study, the development that has happened over the years. Now moving on to question number 9. Alderfer condensed Maslow's 5 needs into 3 needs in which theory? So which was this theory? The answer to this question, it is ERG theory. And also remember the full form of the ERG theory. ERG, it stands for E, existence, R, relatedness, and G, growth. So always make sure that you know all these different full forms and also read about the theories, because these are highly important questions. Now moving on to question number 10. The neoclassical approach of management gave birth to what? So the answer, it is human relations movement. So this is very important, that the neoclassical approach, it is nothing but the same thing as human relations movement. So these kinds of movements, they had a breakaway from the scientific movement. So we sometimes say that the human relations movement, which was actually pioneered by some people like Elton Mayo. So Elton Mayo was one of the fathers of the human relations movement, and his principles, they were totally different to the scientific movement, the scientific management, which was done by F.W. Taylor. So Taylorism and Mayo's ideas, they were totally different. So this is quite interesting to note, and how the different approaches have evolved over the years. It's quite a fascinating kind of thing. So make sure that you read all about it. Let's move to question number 11. Okay, this is a very interesting question and kind of a googly question. So let's read it. The 360-degree feedback was first used by which organization? So the answer for this question, the answer is SO Research and Engineering Group. So SO Research and Engineering Group, they were the first people who had actually used the 360-degree feedback. Now you have to understand that the 360-degree feedback, it has evolved a lot over the years. So we say that SO, they had first done this, but actually if you see the historical context, then the German military, they had done something very similar during World War II, but they did not have a fancy name like the 360-degree feedback. And the American military, they also had done something similar during World War I, but in the American military, they did not have the feedback of the juniors. So in the German military, we can say that in World War II, Germany was the first country that had actually tried this 360-degree feedback. But of course later on the name actually appeared, so the Germans did not use that name. They basically had a kind of feedback in their army whereby everybody could give feedback for each and every person, and this is the similar concept that SO Research and Engineering Group, they did it, and they had done it in the 1950s. So this organization, they were active in the 1950s, and later on another interesting thing, that General Electric Group, GE Group, under the leadership of the legendary chairman Jack Welch, the GE Group, they had successfully used the 360-degree feedback, and this was the first time that any kind of big company had enjoyed a lot of success by 360-degree feedback. So Jack Welch and General Electric, the names should also be very important in this context. So when you see such kind of questions, since this is a multi-layered historical kind of question, make sure to read the options well, and whatever options feels most correct, you can go with that. So let us move to question number 12. A person's movement through various roles across the same company is known as what? So the answer, it is known as career path. So make sure that you do not get confused, because these things, career path, career progression, role, ladder, all these things are very similar. But this question, the answer is career path, because that is how you are moving through the various roles when you are going up in the company. Now let us move to question number 13. A standard scientific test used to measure an individual's mental capabilities and behavioral style. So what is the answer? It is psychometric test. And perhaps a few of you have given this test if you have sat for some bank exams, because they mandate this. this in the final stages of the selection in some bank exams. Question number 14. Which model has 4 layers and is very popular to measure learning and training evaluation for training efficiency? So the answer for this, it is Kirkpatrick model. Now remember another thing, that Phillips ROI model and Kaufman's model, these things are also similar kind of training evaluation models, but they are not so popular and they have each 5 layers. So this is also 5 layers, this is also 5 layers, and the Brinkerhoff model, they actually have 6 layers. So Kirkpatrick model is our answer in this, and it is the most popular training evaluation model. So let's go to question number 15. Vertical dyad linkage theory, where leaders and followers are linked by dyadic relationships, is known as what? The answer, it is LMX theory, also known as leader member exchange theory. So make sure that you remember that entire abbreviation. And now let us move to question number 16. Leadership style where rewards are given for contingent performance. So for contingent performance, if you get rewards, it is called transactional leadership. Question number 17. Which of the following indicates low morale in a team? So which of these things indicates low morale? The answer, it is high labor turnover. Now these types of questions you can actually eliminate. So see, labor turnover, this means what? This means the number of people in an organization that are leaving as a ratio of the total number of organizational people. So if it is quite high, this means that a lot of labor is being turned over or a lot of people are leaving. So this means that the morale will be low. Now low labor turnover, this cannot be the answer because this seems that the company is good. So this cannot be the answer. High fringe benefits. Fringe benefits are also something that are extra. So if you get high fringe benefits, of course, you're not going to have low morale, and high perquisites also will not lead to low morale. So this is your answer. So try and eliminate questions like this, because in management you can try and do this. Sometimes it is possible, not always it's possible, but you can try it because management, it is a lot conceptual sometimes. So let's move to question number 18. According to self-determination theory, if a leader enjoys involving teammates and creates social bonds, he or she is high in what? So they are high in relatedness. So this is a very important concept. So just understand what is relatedness, what is separateness, what is dedication, what is integration. These things are very important and they can be asked. These are very conceptual. Question number 19. Managerial grid model is a style of leadership model pioneered by whom? So the pioneers, they were Robert R. Blake and Jane Mouton. So you might have read about the Blake and Mouton managerial grid. So this is what we are talking about, the Blake and Mouton managerial grid, which is one of the models of leadership. Question number 20. Written communication is preferred in formal communication because it can, the answer for this, it is be stored and documented. So this is a very important thing, that in the formal communication, if you have written communication, it can be stored and documented for all kinds of legal reasons. So this is a very important advantage of your written communication. And of course, it's not going to save the cost because you are writing things and paper costs money. It is also not instantaneous because the written communication, the answer takes a long time, and also it cannot reach the receiver faster because it will take time in most cases. So try and eliminate these kinds of options whenever you have the opportunity. Question number 21. A leader who shares information with team members is performing which role? So the answer for this question, it is disseminator role. And all these roles that you see, spokesperson, monitoring, interpersonal, disseminator, all these 4 roles and more, they were actually discovered by Henri Mintzberg. So remember that name. Henri Mintzberg was the one who actually formed these things. So you must remember all of these things for a comprehensive preparation of management. Question number 22. The process by which a person seeks guidance and advice from mentors is called what? So the answer for this, it is career counseling. Question number 23. Company X sees high demand for maths books, but they don't have manpower to meet it. What can they use to fix this issue? So how can they fix it when they don't have the manpower required to meet the demand that is actually being created in the marketplace? The answer for this, it is staffing. So all these different things, planning, controlling, directing, staffing, organizing, etc. All these different things, make sure that the concepts are crystal clear for you, because these kinds of conceptual questions can sometimes be seen in the examinations and you can answer them. Question number 24. Which approach of planning is also referred to as stepwise design? The answer, it is top-down approach. Next question. The leadership style, metric style that shows relation between programmability and capability for autonomy was given by whom? A very important question. The answer is Eric Flemholtz and Yvonne Randall. So this is the matrix that they had actually created. So we have programmability and autonomy, and they have given us a relationship between the two. So let's move to question number 26. And before we proceed further, I hope that you are attempting all of these questions before you are seeing my answers. I want you to attempt and let me know in the comments below how much you have scored. I will understand your performance from that, and I can give you some advice. And of course, remember, if you want a full course on the SEBI Grade A 2020, then you can check out Olive Board's SEBI Grade A 2020 online course. You are going to get live classes, videos on each and every subject, study notes, mock tests, and all the important things you need to get success. Right now you can see their free content. So if you want to check the free PDFs and the free mini mock tests that they're offering, go to the link in the description and in the comments, and you can make good use of them. So let's continue. Question number 26. Which of the following is also known as team leadership? So the answer for this, it is affiliative leadership. So this is also known as team leadership. Question number 27. Who first used the term emotional intelligence? So who was this? The answer is Michael Baldock. Now remember here that Daniel Goleman, he has the most famous book on the emotional intelligence. So EQ, that emotional quotient which he had actually discovered, that is what it is based on. And Michael Baldock was the first person who had used this term, but Peter Salovey and John Mayer, they were also very much contributors into the field of emotional intelligence. So all these people are involved with emotional intelligence, but Michael Baldock, he was the first who had actually coined that term. So that is going to be the answer. Let's move to question number 28. In which of the following situations using autocratic style of leadership is not suitable? So the answer, it is when environment is stable. So very important, remember that when the environment is very stable, then we do not need autocratic style of leadership, because it can harm the team morale, because they are already stable. They do not need any kind of extra prodding or pushing by an autocrat. But when the staff does not respond, it's a good way in which you can bring up the autocratic style. When the new staff must be trained, it's possible you can do it. When decisions must be made very fast, then also autocratic style you can actually use. So let's move to question number 29. Which of the following correctly shows increasing level of control from low to high in a leadership style? Answer for this is laissez-faire, participative, and then authoritarian. So always remember that this is the increasing level of control. So authoritarian, you have the most amount of control, then a little less you have in participative, and laissez-faire is something in which you do not need that much of control. So that is at the lowest position. Let's go to question number 30. Which theory states that managers are always promoted to their level of incompetence? This is a very interesting question and a very interesting theory. The answer for this is Peter principle. It's very important that you understand these kinds of theories, because sometimes questions can be framed on least known theories like these things. Question number 31. Who said that management is soft science? The answer, it is Ernest Dale. Question number 32. Burns and Stoker's organizational structure theory is what type of theory? So the answer for this, it is contingency theory. So it's a contingency theory that the Burns and Stoker, they used for organizational structure. Question number 33. Which one of the following traits is not a characteristic of an ideal leader? A very important question. The answer for this, it is they think short term. This is very important that you understand. See, they create a vision. Yes, an ideal leader, they are always going to create a vision. They are risk takers. Of course, ideal leaders are always risk takers, and they are change agents, of course, because leaders, they are actually responsible for creating change. But leaders, they do not think short term. So this is not a characteristic of an ideal leader, because a leader will always be thinking long term, and that's why you also should be thinking long term to become a leader in the future. Let's move to question number 34. A computerized system that helps in decision making, coordination, control, and analysis of a company's information is called what? The answer, it is MIS system. And what does MIS stand for? It stands for Management Information System. So always remember all these full forms, because sometimes these can be asked. Question number 35. See, they are asking full forms. So what does R mean in CRM? The answer for this, it is relationship relationship. So what is the full form of CRM? It is customer relationship management. So always these kinds of full forms can be asked to you, so make a note of it. Let us move to question number 36. This is yet another full form question, full form of DSS. So what's the answer? It is Decision Support System. And just remember that DSS, Decision Support System, this is also a part of the MIS, the Management Information System that we talked about. So it's a part of that same very thing. Question number 37. Who was the founder of Great Man Theory, established in the 19th century? So this is one of the very early leadership theories. The answer for this, it is Thomas Carlyle. And just note that in the Great Man Theory, they actually thought that people were actually born with leadership qualities and they could not learn it. So it has been outdated right now, and the behavioral theories these days say that anything can be learned. Question number 38. Hertzberg's two-factor theory has two components. The first one is motivators, and what's the second factor? The answer, it is hygiene factors. So note this, that in the two-factor theory, one of the things is the motivators and the other things are the hygiene factors. So both of these two things are important, and this is a very important theory. Lots of questions have been formed from it, so make sure you cover it properly. Question number 39. What does O stand for in EOQ Inventory Management Model? The answer, it is order. So it is economic order quantity. Question number 40. Which theory postulated by Robert House contains two variables and assumes that leaders can change their style? So what is this theory that actually says all of these things? The answer, it is path goal theory. So it is Robert House's path goal theory. Question number 41. A popular actor won a local election with a landslide majority despite no earlier political experience. The power he displayed is what? So this power, it is referent power. Now sometimes these kinds of situations can be thrown to you and you have to just apply your learning and you have to conceptually find the answer, which is in this case referent power. So all the different types of power, make sure that you learn all about them. Question number 42. The type of authority where superiors can directly control subordinates and can use power to dictate their position. The answer, it is line authority. Question number 43. Type of organizational structure that is most flexible and adaptable. The answer for this, it is boundaryless organization. Now note something, that even an organic structure, an organic organization, it is also changeable. So a lot of changes can happen, but still they have certain regulations that they must follow. But a boundaryless kind of a structure, that is the most flexible and the most adaptable. Let us move to the next question. Which theory believes that you can train people to become leaders? A very important question. The answer is behavioral theory. So as I already talked to you about, that right now we feel that we can teach leadership skills to anybody, because all these MBA schools, all these B schools that you see cropping up, it's all because of that now we feel that leadership can be taught and it is not something that is inherent. Question number 45. Contingency model of leadership was invented by whom? So who invented it? It was Fred Edward Fiedler, also known as Fred Fiedler. Next question. Which of the following things deals with the aspect of touch in non-verbal communication? So the aspect of touch, it is haptics. So always remember all these important things: proxemics, oculesics, kinesics, haptics, all the important definitions about the non-verbal communication and how we can improve it. Next question. Situational theory was developed by whom? A very important question. The answer is Blanchard and Hersey. Question number 48. Ramesh notices that Sonia is involved in workplace gossip and despite her good team skills, he rates her lower. This is what? So again, we have a conceptual question where we have to analyze the situation and we have to find the answer. So the answer in this case, it is going to be Horn effect. So in the Horn effect, what happens is that if you see a person committing something in some field, then your impression of that person carries over to the next activity in which you are judging him or her. Question number 49. Which theory suggests that work expands so as to fill the time available for its completion? This is a very interesting theory, and the answer for this, it is Parkinson's law. So Parkinson's law, this is something with which engineers are very well aware. Remember, when we used to study at the last date, we used to cram all that information on the night before the exam, not even the day before the exam, but the night before the exam. So we engineers, we know all about Parkinson's law. The next question, Greiner's organizational life cycle mentions 5 crises. Which is the crisis that happens after phase 4, which is the coordination phase? This is also a very important Greiner curve. So the answer for this, it is crisis of red tape. Make sure that you understand all the things about this graph and you study it properly. Finally, we have reached to the last question for this session, question number 51. Which one of the following is not a part of para language? A very important question. The answer is oculesics. So all the other things, pitch, gesture, vocalics, all of these things are related to paralanguage, and in fact vocalics is the same thing as paralanguage, so they are interchangeable. They both mean the same thing, but oculesics is not. So we have come to the end of the session on 51 questions on management section for SEBI Grade A 2020. I hope that you tallied down your scores. Please write down in the comments how much you have scored. I want to see who is the person that's going to get the highest score in this session. I hope that you learned something from this session and that it was beneficial to you. If you have any suggestions, feel free to write down in the comments below. Please like this video if you have enjoyed it and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more of this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to ring the bell icon so that you, my friend, do not miss any future update. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.